Good to Great. Have you ever read it? It's a tremendous book. Back when I was in college, I was first introduced to it, and we spent a good chunk of a semester studying the principles that were taught in the book. And I'm not going to go through everything, but there was one that really stuck out to me that all these years later has come back and reapplied recently in a big way. So we had a key position that was open, and we had a candidate that had made it through a couple of interviews, and they were in a third interview, and we were sitting down having a nice conversation. During this interview, I asked them, I said, hey, have you taken the time to look at the core values that we have posted on the website? And he kind of looked at me and it got a little awkward. And he said, well, to be honest, I don't even know what the name of this company is that I'm applying for. And I thought, what in the world? How could you be 3 interviews deep with a company and not even know the name of the company, not have looked them up at all, not done any research on them to see if they would be a good fit for you as an individual? I couldn't even comprehend that. But it goes back to this concept that they talk about in Good to Great, where they talk about having your business as a bus and making sure that everyone's in alignment. So if half the people want to go to one city and the other half want to go to another city, it's not going to work, right? But not only that, but then each seat on a bus has different responsibilities. And they talk a lot about that in the book. And I recommend you go get the book, read it, listen to it, whatever. Make sure that you incorporate these principles into your business. But for me, I was really taken aback that somebody would want the job and be willing to go through multiple interviews, but not be willing to even understand from their perspective if the company would be a good company to work for. You know, another great analogy in business that's kind of bounced around in my head for years is watching the Olympics growing up. One of the most incredible sports, not from being a competitive from that perspective, but from seeing humans that are performing at such a peak level, is watching the professional rowers. And you see them all rowing and rowing, right? And everything is absolute perfect clockwork. Like no one is off from anyone else. They are all exactly on cue. They all are rowing the same amount. No one is rowing extra hard or making their oar go half a stroke. It's all in sync. Everybody is tuned up and working together as a team. And I think that same kind of principle applies from that book, Good to Great. And in hiring, I think that it's both the business's responsibility and the individual's responsibility to make sure that there is a good synergy and a good fit. So we post our core values on the website to ensure that anyone who's coming to look up one of the businesses is going to know who that business is, what they stand for, what they believe in, how they declare that they're going to treat people, and how they expect business relationships to work. As such, I would expect that all the team members that are going to work for a company would want to know what those core values are to make sure that they align with their personal values. If a company's core values don't line up with your personal values as an employee, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And as a company, it would be an absolute nightmare to have that employee in your company. You could be a really good company, really good person. If those two don't line up, it won't be a good working relationship. The employee will be miserable, the business will be miserable, and the customers that interact with those will also be miserable. So core values for a company, I think, are so critical, but that's just one component. Like the bigger a business gets, the more important it is to identify not just core values, but the overall business as far as what their profile is, as far as like a personality, almost as if it was like a human. And you were to describe this person and you say, oh, Bob, he's very serious, but he's also very responsible and very trustworthy, right? Same thing can be done with the business. And the core values are part of that, but the mission and understanding who the company is and their vision and how all those pieces tie together. So many companies, I was just in a business meeting the other day and they were talking about core values. And they said, who has core values? And half the room raised their hand and the other half didn't. And then they said, what are your core values? And they're like, most people didn't even know what the core values were. They just knew that they had gone through that exercise. And I think that Good to Great will back me up on this, but the really successful businesses, they've taken the time not just to identify things like core values, but they've taken the time to integrate that into the very operation of the business. In other words, said another way, the marketing department is ensuring that the brand personality is consistent across the entire company. and that the entire company has a unified message of who they are and how they do business and how they treat people. So whether you're an employee looking for a job, whether you're a business owner looking to hire, whether you're just looking to streamline the business so that it'll run more efficiently and give customers a better experience, whether you're the advertising department, I can't stress enough the importance of making sure that everybody is on the same page in your team, because that's when magic starts to happen.